What's up, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. As always, I am joined by Shannon Times
What's up? What's up?
and Levon Maynard.
How the hell are you?
Doing good. I actually hit record this time. So, for all y'all who couldn't see before, I did the whole intro, did not hit record. So, that's my
That's all right.
fault.
It's
So, it's
all
another
good.
action packed week. Today's episode, we will be talking about the article I put in the chat. The Office 365 cyber attack lands disgruntled IT contractor in jail. So, brief synopsis. So, this article comes from the thread post. And we discussed this before when it came to Cisco doing something similar. So, fire the person, don't take away their access. In this case, he was actually offboarded, but he found a way to get back in there, cause some damage. He was a contractor. However, as opposed to the last gentleman, this guy was quickly extradited, and the Department of Justice got in that butt. So they got him. They could have got him for 10 years. Uh, and I don't know what the max fine is, but instead they got him for 3 years with a supervised release, as well as $567,000.84, and what the company deemed to be what they had to pay to fix the issue. So he got in there and he basically got to their either, or actually no, it wasn't on premise because they directly cite 365. So he got to their online version of Office, started deleting accounts, started deleting old emails, and as we all know, at least in our profession, like I keep my emails for years because you never know what you might need or what contacts you may have had. So they believe this damage to be over $500,000 and up to upwards of 10 years is what they could have gave him. So what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, so it's good that they I guess he got hemmed up for his hacking routine there. Because I mean, obviously it's like this is one of those situations where you got an employee that has access to I mean you may have had all the access he needed, as well as he just knew the lay of the land. So he kind of knew where the vulnerabilities were, the openings within the infrastructure, so he can implement his game plan. Because obviously it looks like they weren't satisfied with his work. I'm sure he had some like salty feelings with the people that worked there, and obviously they didn't really appreciate his work ethics, and so he's let go. But he tried to, or he did accomplish deleting these accounts, um, and hopefully, I didn't get a chance to really review the article, but hopefully they were able to get some of these the data back. I'd imagine some of this information is like backed up on the cloud, but maybe he scrubbed everything, but they were down for 2 days and eventually got back up. So it didn't seem like they were down for an extended period of time. I mean, it'd been worse if they were, offline for like a week or a month or something, trying to get access to the resources again. But good thing that they got back up and running. But I'm glad that they hemmed him up, gave him a nice larger bill. 2 years in prison. I mean, that's decent. Maybe it could have been a little bit longer. I guess the max is 10 years, but I think that's at least the minimum to kind of deter other people from trying to do this kind of activities. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. What do you guys think about it? What do you think about it, Shannon?
So this kind of reminded me of something I saw when I retired from the military. Something that the military had that you kind of take for granted when you spend enough time doing it is in processing and out processing, right?
Hmm.
And one of the things they do is account creation and account, whether it be disabled, whether you
Oh,
disable it,
right.
delete it, or whatever it needs to be. And it's one of those things you take for granted, right? Like a PCS to a new base. Okay, here's your in processing checklist. You got 15 days, 30 days, whatever to get this turned into us, right?
Hmm.
When you out process, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're gonna have this done or you're not leaving. You're gonna stay here, right? Which can be good or bad. If you don't want to go to the next assignment, you'll be like, oh well, I guess I can't get it done, right? But but for the most part,
Right.
want to get
They,
that
they,
done.
they ain't stopping you.
Yeah.
That's right.
but uh but no, it's one of those things that you took for granted. And I actually noticed this. So my first job when I retired, I mean, there was things I had to do, you know what I mean? There was an in processing sheet, but when I left, I didn't have so much of that on the out processing side of it, right? Now, I was in a facility that didn't have any outside access to do anything, but in a situation like this, where this guy deleted, I think the article said over 1,200 of 1,500 accounts he deleted for this company, right?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
that's a large amount. That's not a small hit to take. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And again, depending on what this company did, because they didn't specify it in the article that we had, like this goes to that public trust thing we talked about before in the past, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't care what happened in the background. You're supposed to be taking care of this for me, right? Like now I can't trust you, right? I don't care what the criminal justice system has done to take care of this for this guy, but my public trust in you to provide a service to me is lost, right?
Mm.
So I to the first point, it seems like the in processing and out processing, which is what we call it in the military, right? But onboarding, offboarding, whatever you want to call it, right?
Right.
Needs to be something that's really taken taken more serious. You know what I mean? Because if it was, I'm almost positive this wouldn't have happened, right? Because even if he still had an account there, right, it would have at least been disabled, if not deleted, right? Because it may be one of those things, depending on disposition when it comes to accounts and whatnot, it may be okay. You have to keep this account, active for 90 days after end of employment for auditing purposes or whatever it may be, right? Because you don't know. Like he could have left the company, especially since he was a disgruntled employee that they let go. They may have wanted to keep the account there just to investigate and see if something was done after the fact, right?
Hmm.
So it may not have been actually deleted, but it's the little things like this that prevent this from happening. Like do the little stuff, and it may be a little time consuming, right? Like you might have to have people take if they were to out process this guy, I would imagine every person he had to go through would have maybe taken 5 or 10 minutes of their time, right? But
Hmm.
now look what has happened from somebody not taking the 5 or 10 minutes out of their time to go into Active Directory or whatever they're using for their account creations, right? To say, all right, let's disable this or delete this. Like now it's cost you big money now, you know what I mean, for that amount of time. Like and the thing is, this is not new. Like it wasn't. I mean, well, this one was from 2018, was it? It was.
Right.
Yeah, it was
He just got
2018.
sentenced. It was 2018, but he just got sentenced uh
Right.
recently. So, but even with that, this is still not something new. Like this is no matter what type of certification or whatever you're taking, like this is one of those things they talk about, right? Whether it be Security Plus, CISP, like account management and taking care of the little things so things like this don't happen, right?
Yeah.
Because again, that public trust in the court of public opinion, like you will lose out every time. Nobody wants the truth. They just want to feel how they feel. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So,
And I
my
think,
question, because I was going to say, I'm sorry. I was
oh,
going to
you
say
good.
that does HR and the CISO or the chief information security, whatever, on the outside, because I don't have that experience yet. How do they intertwine? Like how do you properly offboard somebody in their account?
That's what I'm saying is that now full disclosure, I've only had 2 jobs since I've retired, right? But after my first one, there was no out processing procedure really. It was me calling around to say, okay, well, how do I need to do this? Okay, okay, turn this in. All right, what do I need to do for this? Turn this in. I probably could have left if I would not have contacted anybody. I probably could have been gone out of that unit, and they would have had to find me later to say, okay, you need to turn this into us or turn this into. There was like 1 or 2 things they cared about, right? And it was their laptop that they gave me, right, and the badge. That was it. That was it. When it came to the accounts and everything that I had access to, they didn't really care. If I did not, and again, that was from me spending 20 years in the military, me saying, hey, who do I need to go to disable my accounts or do this, that, and the third? And even then, it was one of those things where I think I got the runaround the first, not the runaround, but I didn't get the proper answer the first time. Because I went to the person they told me to go to, and they were like, no, I don't do that. You got to go to this person. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, okay, all right. But I did it on my own accord. Like if I had bad intentions, as we all know, insider threat is the thing that's going to sink you fastest, right? And it's going to sink you most of the time, probably. Like if I'd have had bad intentions, I could have just been like, okay, here's my laptop, here's my badge, and I'll see you guys in 2 months when I come back in here, through the firewall, through the VPN that I still have access to, you know what I mean,
Right.
and do what I need to do. But yeah,
Hmm.
it didn't. I haven't come across that, but my experience is limited. You know what I mean? So
Right. Yeah. And I was thinking along those lines as you're describing that, it's one thing to even go through the process of deleting active accounts and like disable or like delete altogether active admin accounts. But also you got to have like a kind of like a privileged identity management solution where you can actually monitor for access, elevated access. So a lot of these admins, they may make backup accounts. May give oh, I'm gonna make a secondary domain admin account over here. I'm gonna make another backup admin over here, just so I can get to it in case my first account gets compromised or what have you. So having some sort of solution, there's like things you can use that can scan your network, scan your identities to make sure that they're not able to access resources that they shouldn't have access to, and kind of limit the scope of privilege across your infrastructure. So that's just the one thing I just wanted to throw that in there, because that's obviously something that people companies have to keep in mind when they're securing their resources. Can't just rely on like, oh, this guy has an account. I can see the name of the guy's account here, and it says .adm or whatever. That must be his only admin account. So you guys be aware that they could have backup accounts. They could have access to other resources that you don't even realize, and just may need to monitor that kind of a situation.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because if let's just say you're monitoring your whole environment quarterly, you would have caught that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
can anybody answer for this?
Yeah.
John Doe.adm or whatever. And when you go through the department and nobody has an answer for that, be like, well, I can disable it. You disable it and see who screams, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, see what breaks.
See what happens, right? That's kind of how you do it, to find out, okay, you're the one I need to talk to, right?
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a good point, Lamar.
All right. So what you're telling me though is that it's not better on outside. That's what you're telling
me. I'm telling you my limited experience.
I read in these books, and they made me answer these questions on these tests. What you're telling me is in practice, it's still very company dependent.
Book work and the real school is a little different. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
The real school being the actual places you work. Yeah,
right.
It's different.
It's true.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. But no, hey, people are listening. So yes, in practice, this is what you should do. You should be deprovisioning these accounts. You should be offboarding your employees. I thought that was a thing in the civilian world, but I'm sure every department has a different standard operating procedure. Like you said, they just wanted back their laptop and they wanted their badge. Called it a day. So both very dangerous. So, or it could be again, I don't know how HR and your security department is supposed to be intertwined because it's so messy on the military side. Like usually those are the same people. So we don't have that typical separation. So it's all good stuff. It's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that wraps up this episode. So to all you budding security practitioners out there, get rid of them accounts.
That's right.
Or prepared to have to extradite a guy from another country to get him to serve that time. So with that being said, shout out to my co-hosts. Shout out to the Patreons on the Patreon. Remember, you can get this episode 7 days early, at least 7 days early, completely ad-free. On the Patreon, or you can wait for it to hit the free feeds in YouTube. Please go to the YouTube, like, share, subscribe, click the bell. Like audio listeners, keep listening. Appreciate y'all. I think that about wraps it. So when it comes to social media, you can go to www.theothersidefirewall.com, where you can hit all of our IG and TikTok and LinkedIn and Facebook group, which is pretty active. Then you can hit me up personally at RY Security Guy. It's RY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch. I got so many now. TikTok. I'm about to cancel all these accounts, by the way.
I was gonna say, got a list.
I'm all over the place. What about you, Levon?
That's right. You can hit me up at the regular ass Levon Maynard. And if you want to see some half-naked pictures of men, my Twitter. That's my advertisement of the day.
He's a professional fighter, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. That's right.
This is not fans only. I mean, you could fight people on fans only. It's not just for nakedness. But all right, I'm landing this plane. Y'all have a good one. See you next episode.
Take care, everybody.
Peace.